Hello, I'm John Bachman.
A lot to get to on this busy Wednesday. I'm Miranda Kahn. Coming up on Newsmax Now, investigators trying to piece together the tangled metal remains after an Amtrak train derails.
There are some things we know. There are many things we do not know at this time.
That's the mayor of Philadelphia right there. Investigators currently trying to have the version of the train's black box. What can we expect to learn about the cause of this crash? We are expecting to connect with the former chairman of the NTSB. We hope to have an interview with her, and we'll bring you that as soon as we have it. Plus, find out why Dick Morris is slamming Hillary Clinton for saying mom on the president's wish to fast-track a Pacific trade deal.
All that and much more coming up right now on Newsmax Now. And we begin this Wednesday with that very latest on that Amtrak crash out of Philly.
As far as we know, there are 6 people dead when that train derailed just north of the city.
We train for these kinds of incidents, although every one of these incidents, and this is a tragedy, are very different. Again, from last night, we can only confirm that unfortunately we have 6 deceased. We have transported now hundreds of people to various hospitals.
That right there is Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter. He says the investigation into the train derailment is still in the early stages. As you heard him mention, that train was carrying more than 200 passengers and crew members. Some of when it came off the tracks last night, while it was on its way from Washington, D.C. to New York. The emergency management director says local hospitals treated more than 200 patients in the wake of the accident.
It was busy, but it was not chaotic. You know, the folks were coming in and we triaged them as they came in and took care of the sickest folks first. We had a medical and a surgical side, and on the medical side, most of the folks did well.
Former Pennsylvania Congressman Patrick Murphy, who was a passenger on that train, took these pictures while inside the wreckage. The NTSB is currently on the scene investigating the cause of the crash. We will have more on this throughout the course of the day.
And John, this is not the first time this historic rail line has had some issues. Back in 1943, the Congressional Limited, as it was called then, was packed with passengers, many of whom were military members just home from World War II. The Congressional Limited derailed, leaving 79 people dead and more than 100 others injured. That disaster happened when an axle house overheated and broke, the broken piece getting caught under the wheels of that train.
Of course, as we mentioned, we'll have more on that crash. You can also stay tuned to Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com throughout the day. Turning our attention now to political news, top Democrats may be trying to revive that fast-track trade bill that died yesterday in the chamber. Politico reports that Senator Harry Reid is offering to drop an anti-currency manipulation portion of the bill, also some customs language from his party. That's part of their demands. This after Democrats blocked one of the most important pieces of the president's trade agenda. And even though they are supporting the package for different reasons, Republican leaders in the Senate are also backing Obama.
Hopefully at some point they'll come to their senses and realize that those who say they're on the same side as the president will actually demonstrate it by giving us an opportunity to get on the bill for an open amendment process.
The deal doesn't have to be a fight. There's a simple path forward. Just put all 4 bills together, bring them to the floor. It doesn't have, this whole deal doesn't have to be very hard.
Well, Reid and McConnell both say they are working with the White House currently to try and get that trade bill back up and running at some point today. Dick Morris is blasting Hillary Clinton for backing out of not talking about the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership Agreement. Let's take a listen to that.
She has a huge problem with this. As always, lying will solve it for her, but a huge problem, which is that she wrote the damn treaty.
Right.
I mean, she was in charge of the State Department while they were negotiating it.
We'll have more of that interview with Dick Morris coming up here on Newsmax Now in a little bit.
The U.S. helicopter that disappeared in Nepal may have gone down in a river. That's according to a senior official who says about 400 Nepali soldiers are involved in the manhunt for that missing chopper. 8 people were on board, including 6 American Marines. The top official says search crews hope to find the helicopter and the missing men by sundown. A Wisconsin police officer will not face charges for shooting and killing an unarmed suspect back in March. Newly released dashcam video shows Officer Matt Kinney entering the house belonging to Tony Robinson Jr. Officer Kinney was responding to calls that someone was attacking people and jumping in and out of traffic. Police say the officer shot and killed Robinson after the 19-year-old attacked him Yesterday, a Wisconsin prosecutor ruled Kinney used lawful deadly force. Again, he will not face charges for that shooting. Chicago's credit rating just took a big dip. Moody's Investors Service downgraded the city's score by 2 levels, which could make it very difficult for Chicago to borrow money. The mayor calls the move, quote, premature and irresponsible. Chicago now is the only city to be bumped to a junk bond rating by Moody's, according to a report.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and potential presidential candidate, says he wouldn't have gone into war with Iraq, following up on Jeb Bush's comments.
I think President Bush made the best decision he could at the time, given that his intelligence community was telling him that there was WMD and there were other threats right there in Iraq.
Well, Christie's comments come right after Florida Governor Jeb Bush said he would have gone to war based off the information that they had at the time from the intelligence community. He was also saying he misheard that question from Fox News' Megyn Kelly. Ted Cruz also telling the Hill, knowing what we know now, of course, we wouldn't have gone into Iraq. Meantime, retired 4-star Army General Stanley McChrystal tells Steve Malzberg here on Newsmax TV that the U.S. must take more aggressive action on the global stage.
What's your take on what's going on right now? Do you believe President Obama is doing all he could do or all he should be doing to combat ISIS?
I think ISIS is a very serious threat, but I also think ISIS is a symptom of a much wider threat. I think the fact that the Middle East and North Africa are literally melting down, that we've got a much bigger and longer term problem. I think the United States has to take a leadership role. I think if you look at the actions of the Saudis and other coalition going into Yemen and whatnot, on the one hand that's good, on the other hand it also signals a lack of or a concern that America is not doing what we used to do. So in reality, I think it's important that we reestablish a level of legitimacy and credibility that we are going to help stabilize that region, because we can't ignore it.
And to see more of that interview, you can go to newsmaxtv.com and newsmax.com as well. Let's circle back, Miranda, and talk a little bit more about the train derailment in Philadelphia. Of course, the biggest story of the day, obviously. A lot of the wreckage and footage that we are seeing and some other media outlets, and including here as well, coming from social media sites. Immediately after the crash, folks started posting pictures, including former Pennsylvania Congressman Patrick Murphy. Right here, he tweeted out, "I am on Amtrak train that just crashed. I am okay, helping others. Pray for those who are injured." That was just his first tweet. Murphy continued to tweet this picture here. It appears to be inside the train car, at least one of them. I heard all 7 left the tracks there. You can see a few people bruised and battered. We also heard accounts, Miranda, of people crawling over each other trying to get off this train in the panic that ensued.
Yeah, I was listening to his interview this morning on one of the news stations, and you could hear, you know, in the way he was describing things, the fear. He said everything was just going fine, and then all of a sudden the train went to the left, and then it slammed over on the right, and people that were on the left side of the train immediately were falling on top of other people. And people that take these trains, I mean, I have friends of mine that take these trains, and it's gone up 50%. I was telling our producer this, that ridership's gone up 50% since 2000. That's huge. Just in the last 15 years.
We heard from President Obama that a short time ago, he says Amtrak is a part of so many people's lives, and referring to that exact aspect. People use this train to commute every single day. Joe Biden, the vice president, a famous Amtrak user, saying it's part of his life. But I think it's interesting that they don't have seatbelts. And that's something that people are bringing up, and they even have like little stations where, you know, you can get drinks and food and whatever. And so I know, listening to Murphy, he was very concerned about those individuals that might have been standing during that time. Yeah, you know, and that's a question here. The investigators continue to look for a cause. We're hearing that they have their hands, as we reported, on the so-called black box that was on this train. Was speed a factor? Was the infrastructure, the train tracks themselves, the factor here? Or did something happen to the axle like it did back in the 1940s? Those are the questions that the NTSB investigators are looking into as we speak. Of course, we will continue to follow this story and a lot of others here today on Newsmax Now. Coming up, an archbishop takes aim at the White House. What issue, he says, continues to be ignored? And we all know eating too much junk food can lead to obesity, but can it also lead to being politically correct? And does that cause obesity as well? Our next guest explains why there be more to that correlation than you think.